the lesson is different depending on the season. The number of lessons you can learn from previous failures, even if you think you've already learned from them. 5 businesses later, it helps to go back to business 1 and look at it again.
I realized that I have been building on survival mode. And there are decisions you make that are so bad for the business when you're on survival mode. Yeah. Failure
leads to failure. The assumption is that if this has failed, then the business has failed.
No.
I think at this point, multiple times, I have found myself just sitting in job interviews because I'm like, this is not going to work out.
It's not going to work out.
But then I walk out of the job interview and I'm like, no, we can't give up now. And then I go and continue doing what I'm doing. So if you
It's never a quick fix.
There's no such thing.
There's no such thing.
There's no such thing as a fix.
That's true. Remember your why.
Yes.
Why did you even start this thing in the first place? Why? Because I'm sure it was not the money in the bank that you were just like, I need stacks and stacks of it.
Yeah. Especially entrepreneurs need to learn how to persevere, specifically for themselves. Like you need to learn your mechanism for keeping on going. There's a solid amount of time there.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us from. Welcome back to yet another episode of Unprepared to Entrepreneur. Today I have a very special guest, Cedric, and I can't wait to get into the conversation where he will share more about himself and let us know more about his stories around failure and what he has learned from that process. I can't wait to get into that. But before we get into the conversation, I'll give you a chance to introduce yourself. Tell us more about yourself, what you do. We want to get to know you a little bit more before we dive into.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like you said, my name is Cedric. Ced is fine. The first syllable is good. I am a serial entrepreneur, so I run multiple different businesses. My main one is here, where we are actually. So this is Verge.
Yeah. Thank you for hosting us.
Yeah, you're welcome. No,
this is nice.
Yeah, thank you for actually coming through. I think it's an honor to kind of host you.
Yeah.
But so we are a content marketing agency and studio. Short of it is we are an agency and we're a studio. We help clients with their marketing needs, whether it is everything from strategy to execution, everything in between. And we also help with production of those assets. Our clients range from big brands. We've worked with multinational FMCGs and so on and so forth, all the way to very small individual niche brands. And also we work with individuals quite a lot. So creators who want to come and do something, we partner with them as well. That's why spaces like this exist, so that when they need to record something, there's a space, there's a team to help them. There's actually people who work specifically with creators here. So basically the full gamut of stuff. And then we have our own internal projects. So we also develop our own content. We have a quarterly conference on, I told you about on Friday. We have an animated movie we've almost finished.
Animated movie?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but we had to put a pause on it because one of the key team members is unwell, but it's there.
I see.
Yeah, so we pick up projects like that, and then we have technology projects as well. That's actually now the future for us. We can talk about that later, but the future for us now is we're going to be building tech quite a lot. We've diversified in that regard. It's myself, my 2 business partners, and we're quite proud. We've been here quite a little while.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I am so excited to be in this space because I'm very new in this space, I would say.
You're like 30,000 followers in on TikTok. you're not new.
Well, not new, but new in the sense that, for example, when I started the TikTok page, I completely had no clue what I was doing. I just picked up my phone and started recording stuff, stories, sharing, whatever. So I would say I'm new in terms of understanding the space. And if I can disclose this, Ced is actually the one who reached out to me. And I remember just reading that message and I was so excited because I follow you on TikTok. You're struggling.
I'm really struggling to be
How am I doing better than you?
It's the thing of like how the chef eats last. I have been working on everyone else's content.
Right?
Yeah, I think this year I've done more podcast appearances than I've recorded it. Like I've not recorded a single
I
episode
see.
of mine.
However, I could be doing better in terms of numbers, but you know, I'm following you and I'm thinking, this guy knows more than I do and he can actually help me grow this channel. And now he's reaching out to be on my channel. I'm just like, this is just, I was very excited.
I like the ethos of what you are doing first, and I liked how you are doing it. And I'll the same thing I said to you, I'll say it here. I genuinely believe, especially in times like this, when you see someone doing well, it's important to just acknowledge immediately, because I think we've gotten into that like culture where you double tap and you think the sentiment goes across with it. I will openly say, this is really cool, this is amazing.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you so much. That was really, really nice. I follow your content. It's more educational content.
Right now,
and you know, when you're doing, at least I know this much from just, you know, the few months I've been in content, that when you're leaning towards educational content, the virality aspect really, you know, it takes time for people to catch up. So you're not going to have, let's say, a video with 1 million views, but the few that are there are solid, because, you know, I come to your page because it gives me some sort of value. With what I'm currently doing, and it's also very relevant, to me right now. So yeah, this was very exciting. I'm very excited to have this conversation. But you know, before we get to your failure season, which I'm very curious to hear about, now that you said you're a serial. You're a serial entrepreneur. I was speaking to another guest who we are actually recording after this, and you know, he's like, actually, my problem is I don't know which one to pick. There are so many. Which one do you want? Because it's failure after failure after.
I think that's everyone's story.
Yes. And I'm hoping that these conversations inspire more people to get comfortable with failure, because there's no way to avoid it. Just get comfortable with it. So we'll start with what your journey has taught you lately. I'll start with myself, and then, you know, as you think.
No, I have something.
So interesting. This is our 4th episode. And I remember just actually before I got on a call with you, I had like a couple of days I was just feeling like, is this thing working? You know, I'm not getting as much followers on the channel, especially on YouTube, as I hoped for, or I imagined I would.
Follow on YouTube.
Yes, please.
Like the video.
And so I was in this space where I'm starting to doubt myself. I completely forgot that actually these things take time, and it's something that I know they take time. But you know, sometimes you have this expectation, and you know, when you don't meet that expectation, you start to feel some type of way. And I spoke to you. We had a call. In fact, you know, when I was going through these emotions, that's when you sent me that message asking, you know, can I be on your podcast? So you literally dragged me out of there. So
I'm happy that managed to work out.
So I remember you were telling me, so how many followers do you know, in our conversation, you remember, how many followers do you have? And I was like, at this point, subscribers actually in this case, I had about just a little over 100. And you're like, just imagine hosting an event and inviting 100 people in the same room. What do you see? Those are many people. So why are you in that space exactly? Because 100, that means that is progress. And you really like, it's something I know. It takes time, but sometimes we forget. And so it was refreshing to get someone to just get you out of that space and, you know, just give yourself time. You know, keep doing it. The more you do it, the better at it you become. And, you know, the outcome is going to be what the outcome is going to be. the only thing I have in control is my input. So here I am putting in the work.
I mean, I'm happy that resonated. It's something you know, when you tell people things and you know it's true, but then you don't apply it to yourself. I'm 100% those people. I give a lot of advice because of consulting. So like, separately from this, I also do consultations. And generally, I'm always telling, you don't worry about this. And then immediately I go home and look at my numbers. Now, for perspective, I do have other pages and they have varying levels of followership. So I have some that are massive. I think I explained this to you before.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
That I have some where it's huge numbers and then others where it's dwindling numbers. And the ones that have small numbers are the ones that are actually attached to my face. So those are the ones where I tend to catch a bit of a feeling, but I get exactly where you're coming from. Like this is advice I'm giving from a very real place. I've had to explain to people why quantity is not, like, big numbers don't mean big returns. Let me. You said, since you said you're new to the content thing, can you explain something to you that I like explaining about revenue on YouTube?
Okay.
So say the type of content you're doing, which is in a little bit in the business side, a little bit in the finance side, a little bit in the entrepreneur space.
Yes.
What YouTube would classify as business education.
Yes.
Because it falls into that space. It also falls a little bit into motivation and storytelling. It is also long format. Now, how much YouTube pays when you get into the monetization side of it, how much YouTube pays for videos like yours per 1,000 views, give or take, ranges from maybe like $6 to like $20.
Oh.
Yeah. So just keep this in mind for.
I had no idea, so I'm really glad I'm here.
So this is, if you do high quality content that's in the format we are talking about, a completed view, $6 to $20. Like 20 is the highest I've ever seen.
I see.
And for the type of content you're doing, I think 6 is the lowest I've ever seen. How much do you think Drake gets per 1,000 views?
No idea.
40 cents.
Oh, really?
That's the difference.
Oh, I see.
That's the difference. You don't need those numbers to be successful on that platform. You can build a higher value audience and be able to monetize that and grow it there.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I've actually not even gone as far as figuring out the monetization. I'm like, I'm really happy to have met you. You know, expect my call. But I am at this point. I want to deliver value first. I feel like the second will automatically, like, I'll figure it out as long as I have this value locked in.
Yeah, and that's a mentality you should always go in with. Like anybody who's had that and decided to create educational content, please don't. Like, get good at education and then monetize. Don't try to monetize education. Like, there's a big difference. Yeah. So even with my content, part of the thing I have to always keep telling myself, I'm not doing this for followers. I think if you watch my first video, I said I'm doing this because I have said I will do this.
Yes.
And I want to get better at it. And genuinely, between video 1 and, like, I don't know how many videos I have now, like 40 or 50 since December, I think I've improved slightly, so I'm okay with that.
It's no, it's good. And depending on, you see, what I find valuable, and I think of late I've just realized I am a bit selfish with the time I spend online. I don't want to spend it on stupid things, to be honest. So most creators, if you're not adding value to me, I am just, I might not even, I'll just mute. Maybe I'm just there hanging, you know. But you're
you need to laugh a little bit.
Yeah, just when I'm bored and I'm looking for some, let's say, you know, so I'll go there. But you'll be muted because I want to get value from the time I'm spending on social media. Yeah.
I don't think I'm that. I wish I was that intentional. Yeah, I genuinely, I thrive on, these guys like saying I thrive on chaos. I thrive on randomness. Because, like, I find inspiration from random things happening. So, like, I thrive on that.
I guess when you're a creative, especially running an agency, I mean, you need to know what's happening. It's actually your job to know what's happening in the market.
What the trends are.
Yeah.
So I have one profile where I just follow big creators.
Like
nothing other than I just go look for the people who are popular and I follow them.
Uh-huh.
So it's a throwaway profile.
Mm-hmm.
I am rarely on it, but I log in just to see what are people seeing.
What are people up to?
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's mine. What
Okay.
has your journey
My journey
taught you lately?
Lately, I think there are two big lessons
Mm-hmm.
lately. The first one is the number of lessons you can learn from previous failures, even if you think you've already learned from them. So let me double down on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say you've gone through something. You see, I tried this business and I failed it, and then you take your lessons and you move forward.
Mm-hmm.
5 businesses later, it helps to go back to business one and look at it again.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I get it.
Because perspective has changed significantly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So very, very recently, I was just like, let me go back and look at what I was doing.
Oh, Lord. Do you know,
Mm.
beginning of this year, I actually sat down with a pen and paper.
Mm.
I'm like, this trend, what's up? Why am I starting and stopping and starting and stopping and pivoting all the time?
Yeah.
What's going on? What's really, really going on? And, you sit down, be honest with yourself, write it down. If it was something, to do with you, write it down. If it was the external factors, write it down. Whatever the case may be. And quite a good chunk of it was me.
Here's the thing. I think what I've realized is the lesson is different depending on the season. So like
The lesson is different depending on the season.
Yeah. Because you learn what you learned immediately after it happened, but where you are at that time, very different from where you are now. Because
True.
you survived what you thought you wouldn't survive, and then you went further and survived something else and something else.
Your perspective keeps changing.
Yeah. And by the time you go back and say, okay, let me go back to episode 1 and rewatch this, you'll get a lesson that wasn't.
That is so true.
So you don't need to get new failures to get new lessons. You can just go back to.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing I was getting out of that.
Because,
Yeah, so I had a window where that was a big thing. And then the second big lesson from this season is balance is so important. And I know it's one of those things where everybody always has that, but like trying to fill 3 buckets at the same time is usually what we're doing. You're usually trying to survive, and then you're trying to thrive, and then you're trying to be alive somewhere here. Yeah? So like you're trying to have the family and the moments.
Survive, thrive, and be alive.
And at least feel alive. You know what I mean? Like at least have those moments of just, this is working out.
Yeah.
Go on holiday. Spend time with the family and the kids and the friends and see new things and but you can't fill this cup and fill this cup and fill this cup at the same time. Yeah. It's just not going to happen at the same time unless you have significant capital.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, money becomes the solution.
Limited resources.
So I think like what was my reflection on that has been that this cup, the being alive, being a quarter full, feels a lot better than the other cups being completely full.
Being alive, being a quarter full feels much better than the other 2 being
completely full. Like you can have all the money in the world, but if you haven't seen your family and your friends and your loved ones in a week, a month,
it counts for what? Yeah.
It's not good. It's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, like it's just. It
but achieving that balance.
Yeah.
How do you achieve that balance?
I mean, $1 million question. I will pay someone to answer it. But my thing is just right now. That's why I was like, fill this one. That's my only goal now. My focus is like whatever else is happening, and I struggle with it. Like genuinely, I struggle. We were talking about this today. I started my calls crazy early in the morning. By the time I'm coming here, second meeting, and by the time I get home, my energy level is so low that no matter how much psych I want to have, I can't have it because I won't. There's not even meal time today. So I know for sure I'm going to go home very in it. But because my focus is on making sure this cup is full, I'm saving it for the moments that matter, like bedtime with the kids. We have to do that. If I have like 1 hour with them today, then that 1 hour is
You make it count.
try to make it count.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of, that's where my focus is. These are the things you'll have to do, especially when you gain momentum. Like, you can't really stop. At this point, there are 20 employees here.
You can't stop. No, you can't stop.
So momentum will keep me going. I just need to show up every day.
The many people you're helping stay alive.
This other one, especially now, everyone. But this other one, you have to put effort. So find where your effort is.
Conscious
where
effort.
Your momentum is.
Conscious effort.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I get it. And maybe just let me borrow something from that lesson also.
Sure.
As I was doing sort of like an audit, let me call it, I realized that I have been building on survival mode. And there are decisions you make that are so bad for the business when you're on survival mode.
100%.
So every time I feel like I am, every time I am in survival mode, I have to sort of remove myself from that situation and make like a logical, independent decision about that situation. Because, I don't know, all the wrong business decisions I've made that have landed me in trouble have been on survival mode.
Yeah, or desperation. It's those
yes.
And you're like, this is a quick fix. Man, I think one of the, if you ask me
never
last
a quick
year,
fix.
There's no such thing.
There's no such thing.
There's no such thing as a quick fix.
That's true.
I was watching the partnership thing, the partnership episode. Please go watch the previous episode. But like, one of the things I was thinking about is, especially in situations like this, it really helps if you have the right partners.
It does.
It genuinely helps.
They help check you.
Oh yeah, they help check you, but then they also help take loads that you can't carry off.
The pressure off.
Yeah,
that is so true.
Like for me, if I was left to make the financial decisions for this place, very different outcome. There's someone doing.
There's someone else.
Operations. There's someone doing that. So my focus is on strategy. Like the past 8 years, I remember there are things where we just said, okay, I'm not doing this, and the other person says, I'm not doing this, and like now everybody kind of holds the other person's water. So I don't.
And they also, obviously, if you're good partners, you're also really great communicators. So when your personal life maybe is suffering, or you have some challenges there, and you need them to, take something off your shoulders.
But
then
the honesty is not an option in any partnership where you have real stakes.
Yes.
You can't not be honest.
That's true.
Like, don't lie to your spouse about your capacity. Just be straight up. Today is a 20% day. I cannot do anything.
That's true.
If you come in and start pretending you're Superman every day, it'll be funny until you're told to fly.
True. Alrighty, that's nice. I like the lessons we've picked up recently, and I hope they also inspire someone who's watching. Business owners, entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs. So now I can't wait to
the failure season.
Yep. You said you're a serial entrepreneur, so I'm curious to see which one you pick.
Well, I was thinking, do I go in on like a business that failed? And I realized, not for the lesson I want to give. For the lesson I want to give, I want to, like, my failure season is 1 year.
All right.
And it is 1 year of so many failures and what I learned from them.
Okay.
So I want to talk about this specific business because I think one of the things people also look at is that failures lead to failure. Yeah.
Failure leads
to failure. The assumption is that if this has failed, then the business has failed.
No.
It's never the case.
It's not the case.
Not never. It can be
not
the case.
Always the case.
And that's kind of my point.
Yeah.
I think the lesson I would want to give is that people need to, especially entrepreneurs, need to learn how to persevere specifically for themselves. Like, you need to learn your mechanism for keeping on going. So when we started this business, like I mentioned, I have really good partners.
Yeah.
One of them is a friend from more than 20 years now. We've been friends. So childhood well, we were both teenagers, like late
Long
teens, yeah.
long
So
time
known
friend.
each other for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Another one I've been friends with more than, oh wow, almost 15 years now. So both of them, I've known them for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
All the factors of getting into the right business made sense. I had all the experience. I was coming from a company where I had validated what we're about to do here.
Okay.
They had already set up something here that I was investing into and bringing my expertise into. So it made a lot of sense. The only thing we needed to do was get clients.
I see.
That was the entire goal. Was
Yeah.
we're starting from scratch. We need clients. So we did everything we could to get clients. Now here's the thing. I have seasoned marketer, we have a seasoned salesperson, a business development person, and a seasoned person in operations and production.
That's a good team.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Should be able to land.
Yeah.
And we have history. We have, we have a good resume.
Hit the ground running.
Exactly. So my estimation in my head was we go hard. Like 3 months we'll be chilling.
Yeah, your runway is short.
It's a very short. We'll be fine. We did. We went really hard in the beginning. Like we booked every meeting we could get to because we used all our networks, all our Rolodex, everybody we could find. Call, are you interested? We'll come, we'll pitch, we'll prepare. We were preparing decks here quickly, putting them together, going there, pitching. 2 pitches per week. Yeah. At some point we got to like 3 pitches a week. At some point we were doing 2, 3, 2, 3, alternating.
Yeah.
We got to June. This started in January, just so that it's easy to follow.
June, 6 months in.
6 months in. 50 pitches in, no business. And
50 pitches in.
Yeah, we have gone to 50 different businesses, created 50 different proposals, gone around, 0 income.
Okay.
So we added to the list of things that we're going to pitch pro bono work. Things that we'll do for free just so that we can have a portfolio.
I see.
Continued, let's pitch again. And we started going around pitching. Around August, we got our first pro bono.
First pro bono?
Yeah, someone who agreed to let us do it for free.
All right.
So still...
Are you able to tell us like what the product or the service was? And maybe your target customer at the time?
So I think that one was, actually I think that one was also like a bit of a passion project. No. I remember what that one was. That one was a brand that was sponsoring like some sporting event. So we were going to do coverage and social media and whatnot. And the only thing they were covering is the expense for us to do that. But everything else we're doing for free.
I see.
We built the website for free. We posted on social media for free. We created the content, the graphics, all that stuff for free, just so that we could get that one piece of work and say we did
this.
But they didn't pay for it. They paid for us to go there.
Yeah, not for their work
not for
itself. Yeah.
We also did a bunch of, and that's where now volunteer work started coming in. We worked with KSPCA, who do the admissions.
Yes.
We did some social media work for them for some time. And we were taking very little, like I think we're getting 25,000 a month. And then we found someone who had like a small beauty company and she was trying to sell those products, and then we did some work for her. It was again like 15k a month. There were 8 people here at the time, so there were 8 salaries going out at the end of the month. Unless we're each taking 2k, the math wasn't.
How are you how are you surviving though?
Honestly, we were just out of pocket.
Out of pocket. Yeah, from your savings
and for like me, I think there was a solid amount of time there where my wife was just my sugar mommy. I had no money. At this point.
Shout out to her.
She's the best. So for a period of time that she had a job, she hadn't yet gotten into entrepreneurship. I'm a really bad influence. She's an entrepreneur now.
I like it.
So 2 of us.
It makes the marriage better, by the way. If one is an employee and one is an entrepreneur, you fight a lot.
We weren't even fighting. I think it was one of those where
you collide a lot.
Oh yeah. Because the things that aren't working for you are working for me, and then vice versa. So it was a lot of sympathy. But now we are in the place where we're in the place where we're both in the same
Nice.
Except my businesses are more advanced, like in age.
It paid off.
kind of.
I'd say it paid off.
It paid off. We have
Yeah.
a space. Let me not complain.
Yeah.
So anyway, we learned a few small things here and there, but honestly, we're not breaking even. 70 pitches in.
So what are you pitching to now? I understand what you pitched to the guys who gave you the pro bono work, but these other 70 that you've not gotten work at all, what service or product are you pitching to them?
Whatever they need. So we're literally sitting down, and mind you, our pitches back then were, you could use them. It was, we have assessed what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Here is our proposal. Here's some creative samples. Here's some. We would go all the way into that pitch. So much so, I won't say the name of the company, but I'll give you an example. There's a bank we went to pitch for because they were rebranding. They were changing names from one name to another name. So we told them, okay, fine, we'll pitch. We pitched the idea for how the new look can be. We pitched what the website can look like. This is how we would change. This is how we change your tone so that you talk to people differently. The type of messaging you'd have, blah, 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 blah. We can do all of this work for you within X amount of time. This is how much we would charge. And it was a cheap rate. They took our proposal and gave it to the guys they awarded the job to. And
to implement.
Months later, when the website finally went up, the copy from our proposal, the text that we wrote, was on their website. So it wasn't that the proposals were bad. Just to be clear, it's not that our services...
The proposals were good.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
What was it?
So this
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Okay.
Like, eventually, like, we continue. We've lost hope. I think at this point, multiple times, I have found myself just sitting in job interviews because I'm like, this is not going to work out.
It's not going to work out.
But then I walk out of the job interview and I'm like, no, we can't give up now. And then I go and continue doing what I'm doing. So we continued pushing. And then there was one day where I just reached over. At the time we used to sit next to each other, me and my business partner, Dave. I remember I just looked at him and I'm like, man, why are we doing this? And he was like, because it's a good idea. That was it. That put the energy in me, because we had slowed down at this point. The pitches had slowed down. Put the energy in me where I got up.
It's up.
Yeah.
The confidence and the enthusiasm you had, while starting, the first pitches, you're going hard.
Yeah.
By the time you're getting to 70 pitches.
Q3 was slowing down, but after he said, I was preparing to rant. I was preparing for him to be like, yeah, man, this is hard. But he was still like, no, this is we have something good here. We just need to find someone. And the fact that he was sure, I know he wasn't sure. Now I know he wasn't sure. Because we've talked about it since, and I know he wasn't sure. He doesn't even remember that day. But at the time, just because he seemed sure, I was sure.
You were sure.
And then we went.
Yeah.
And escalated. At that point now, I was going all out.
That's the thing with partnerships. You find yourself, if you have a good relationship with your partner, your business partner, you're able to read the mood. So when they're coming for a wish story and you're about to crash, I'm not gonna let you get back up.
Yeah, and he used to be, so the funny story, but the way we met is he used to be my gym instructor. So he used to,
That's interesting.
Really strange. So he used to be my gym instructor. He was a few years older than me, but he used to be my gym instructor when I was 18, 17, 18. So that's how we met. So even that time, I think he was just pulling gym stunts on me.
Right?
No, get back up.
Get back up.
So I got back up and we got on that one and we chased things down. I was calling people, again, I was back to season 1.
Yeah.
Let's put maximum effort into this. And I kid you not, as like a joke, December, the last 2 pitches we did, we won.
In December?
Yeah. The last 2. A whole year of failures. The last 2 we won. And it wasn't small ones.
What was
big multinationals.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
what was different for those pitches that you won?
That's the thing I was saying earlier about realizing you have to go back and look at it.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to tell this story. Because I went back and looked. And what had happened is, because we had done so many pitches and failed so many times, I was like, I'm not giving people the full playbook anymore.
Because I mean, they're just gonna give it to somebody else to implement.
So what
I'm
I'm going to do is
tired.
I'm going to tell you, this is who we are. This is what we can do. This is what you need. And this is our assessment of how that's going to go. And if you want us to do it, this is what it's going to take. And then let them come back and say, give me a proposal. And when they say, come back and give me a proposal,
Then you can put in, the hours. Because, I mean, coming up with a proposal is it's not easy.
They didn't want to pay for the proposal, but what they did want to do was to be able to say, okay, we've acknowledged that you're qualified. So get some level of commitment from them. And then they tell you, okay, cool. Now come back with a proper pitch. Go back with a proper pitch. And at that point, again, I realized the difference between giving a direction and giving the execution. So saying, for example, what you need to do is explore more educational content is very different from, here's a lesson plan of what you can create.
I see.
So we started shifting a little bit.
I see.
What we are
so you're not giving them everything in your pitch.
Yeah.
You're...
Don't work for free is kind of the point.
Yeah.
Don't work for free. Like, be very aware, because that's what we were doing. We're doing free work and then asking you to pay for it.
Yes, but you've already given it to me. You've already done it. I already have work. It. Yeah.
Can you pay for this now?
I see.
It's like washing my car and then telling me afterwards, did I ask you?
True.
Like, did we?
Very true.
And the thing that happened. So the big lesson here for pretty much all the entrepreneurs out there, and I know you guys know this, is just don't expect the success rate to be whatever you expect it to be. It'll be significantly lower. You just have to be sure of what you're doing. Like, be very sure. Because the thing that spurred me to that end was my business partner reminding me, we have something good here.
Yes.
This is not a flawed product.
Remember your why.
Yes.
Why did you even start this thing in the first place? Why? Because I'm sure it was not the money in the bank that you were just like, I need stacks and stacks of it. It had a deeper, there's a vision.
Yeah.
So just often going back to the why, if you can write it down and when you're feeling down, you go and read it. I think it really, really helps. It helps if you have a partner to remind you of why you started. Because, I mean, it does get hard. 70 pitches.
So at the end, it was 100 and...
The number went up.
Like, when the last two were like, we had crossed 100. I feel like it was like 102, 104 thereabouts. Or we'd crossed the 100 mark. We were well past 100. At this point now, we're Hail Mary. We're just waiting. And the other thing to also mention, I'm counting them now. We weren't counting them back then. We started counting them after we won.
After you won.
And we went like...
If you counted them back then, you'd never have made it. You'd never have made it.
And it's dead now. But I'm going to revive it when I get enough money to revive dead technology. But in it, I had a folder for every single pitch. So when we got to the end, I just hit Control A and selected all of them and looked at the number.
That's some level.
Like it was 104. I feel like it was like 104. And I just showed...
That's some level of tenacity.
So, and this is the thing. That's kind of what I wanted to get at, is that people will come here a lot of times and be like, wow, yeah, you guys have really, you've really done something. Please understand, we failed more than you. That's the only thing we did, is that we failed more than you.
Yeah.
100%, I know for a fact, most people, we have failed more than you.
Yeah.
We've not succeeded more than you.
You fail. The pitches that you've done that you didn't get work for are definitely more. If you were to count all of them to date, they're significantly more than the ones you won. So ideally, you fail more than you succeed.
Yeah, but then you have to know what to do with that failure, because you see, part of the problem is even in the process of failing, and this is why I was saying it's really important to learn how to persevere, because part of it is also learning how to fail. It's like learning how to fall down, right? If you watch any one of these gymnasts, the Olympics is happening now, so I guess it's a good example. Any one of these gymnasts, acrobats, whatnot, and how they train, one of the first things they're taught is how to fall safely. Because for sure you're going to fall.
You're going to fall.
That's the only guarantee you have here. Everything else you're trying to do, you might. Triple backflip, you might. This, you might. Learn how to fall.
That
And
makes a
then-
lot of sense.
Yeah, so the same thing with all of these things. Like if you're getting into a business, just try to remember this is going to go badly. This is going to go very, very badly. You need to prepare to get back up. Like don't prepare to just succeed, prepare to get back up.
Oof, you never quite foresee
Yeah.
that fall, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, you
Most
don't
of the
see it.
time.
Yeah, you don't.
Most
But
of the
it's
time.
mentality.
It's,
a lot of it is the mentality.
it's your mental capacity
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be prepared that, you know, this thing I'm trying out
Mm.
might go belly up.
Yeah.
And if it does,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
we need to pick ourselves back up.
Tomorrow is another day.
Tomorrow is another day.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I can't remember where I saw this or who said it, but like the number one goal for any business is not to make profit, it's to make it to the next day. That's it. You're just trying to stay open.
Yes.
Because as long as there is a sound business behind it, there's a healthy brand, there's a healthy business, there's a healthy mechanism behind it, stay open.
Question. I like that you brought that up. Your partner said we have a good thing going. We are onto something, right?
Yeah.
How have you tried businesses before that, you know, you maybe, speaking for myself, where you see when you say a healthy business, there's actually there's how an idea is vetted.
Yeah.
Like, have you vetted your idea for you to actually say this is a healthy business?
Yeah.
And for you to be sure that at that point in time, yes, you know, you were kidogo bit, but it was still,
there was some validity to it.
Yes.
So I think we vetted the concept in different ways for this one. But in previous business, I've had businesses that the minute I told someone what I was doing, they were like, that's a really stupid idea. and you know, the worst thing is when someone says it and you've already lost money.
You've already put in.
Yeah. So like there's a time we're trying that tenderpreneur thing. And, we made the first bit of money, like selling pencils or something.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, let's double down on this and let's try and get bigger tenders. You know, now we have a little bit of capital, blah, blah, blah. We can secure this. And literally the day we were going to submit one of these tenders, I was so excited. And I told this guy I know who's super successful now. I told him, I was like, yo, this is what we're going to do. And he just looked at me and he was like, that is a really stupid idea.
Why do you think he said that?
No, he explained. He proceeded to explain. And he was just like, you cannot afford to do this business. You're going to lose so much money before you make money. You've not planned for this. And you know, when you get taken aback where you want to be defensive, but at the same time,
you know he's right.
I know he. Yeah,
you're just like,
you know what? Let me take that deep breath, go back, and then I went and talked to the guy who I was working with at the time, and I'm like, yo, this is what this dude said, and he said, you know, I was thinking.
So many loose ends. The thing with tenderpreneurship, many loose. You're not in control of anything.
Yeah. So we sat down, we looked at it, and we're like, okay, before we submit these documents, let's give it a thought. We have a few hours. We sat there for like an hour in silence, and then we're like, you know what? Let's just fold the business since we have some money. Let's not dig a hole deeper than what we need to dig.
Yeah. Good call.
The first one was luck.
Yeah.
This one,
good call.
Fold. And we moved on.
So like in comparison between the ideas you had before that maybe were validated. I mean, if you don't validate the idea, the experience will validate it for you. Yeah. So and this one that, you know, obviously you're still doing now, meaning it was very good business concept. What would you say, like, what makes this one stand out in terms, like, if someone is out there thinking of starting a business, what should you maybe look out for in terms of validating a good business idea? Like, yeah, this looks good, take the next step, kind of thing.
So it's a really good question. I think first of all, you need to make sure that you actually know enough, like you yourself, know enough about whatever you're getting into to be able to assess it. Because otherwise you should not be the one assessing it. If you don't know enough about it but you want to get involved, find someone who does know about it and get them to assess it. But step one, assuming that you know what you're getting into and that you're secure in that knowledge, ask yourself all the common sense questions. Does this make sense? You know, like we're talking about dragon fruit. people are over there, they say, dragon fruit is the next big thing. And I said, show me a person. You know, there are 20 people here. Show me 1, 2 who have dragon fruit with them. I'll invest.
Or who've consumed a piece
month.
in the last 1 month.
Show me someone who's eating it. I'll do. It's the same thing we talked about with quail. Point to me the people who want smaller chickens, and I'll tell you this is where it's at. But then at the same time, if you can't get past the common sense phase, then don't bother with it.
Okay.
If genuinely the common sense element does not make sense, don't bother with it. That's my approach, at least.
A bare minimum. It needs to make sense.
Yeah. Second one is you have to ask yourself, do I have the capacity for this? And that's where you have to be really, really honest about what will this take. And whatever it will take, just double it. You know the way they say if you're building a house and the contractor tells you 1 year, plan for 2 years. Yeah. If you're going to invest this much, plan double, because you kind of just need.
It's gonna cost you more. It's gonna take you longer.
It's going to be harder.
It's going to be harder than you think.
All those things. So knowing you have the capacity, I mean, it's just really looking at however long you think it will take, however much you think this is going to cost you, however much effort you think this is going to need, and look at the full toll of what you're about to get into and what the business will take to succeed. So if, say, for example, you're talking about farming, you have to be able to say, outside of your own time, effort, and whatnot, do you need people there? Do you need fertilizer? Do you need this? Do you need that? How much time? How much? Like, factor in as much as possible and say, do I have this? Or do I have the means to get this?
Yeah. And then multiply that by a factor of 3.
Yeah, multiply it by how many people you know who've done it and failed, times the ones divided by the ones who've succeeded, and then that's your kind of ratio, yeah? Because I know 10 people who've gotten into farming the last month, 2 of them have succeeded. Then whatever I'm expecting, multiply by 5.
Yeah.
That's kind of my rule of thumb.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I make up math. But
that makes sense. Yeah. But usually, we say, okay, you're gonna plan and you look at your capacity, but when you're going in the first time, obviously, if you're a seasoned entrepreneur, you know these things. Yeah. But when you're going in the first time, you like your math to the T. Like anything goes wrong.
You're operating on and that's the other thing I was going to say. Then after that, what you need to do, well, the third thing and then the last thing. But the third thing is, so capacity is the second one, capability is the third one. If you actually cannot, and this you have to be really honest with yourself. Farming requires, yes, someone to grow, but it also requires someone to sell. If you are not a salesperson, get a salesperson. It also requires someone to, I don't know, whether it's licensing, packaging, whatever things that are included. If you do not have the capability. To do it,
let me tell you something about a lesson I've learned quite late. I mean, I understood you for the business to make sense, you need to sell, right? But I don't know, for some reason, selling is not usually top of mind when you're, especially when you're starting a small business from, if this is your first one. We really concentrate on the product, how the product looks, and you put all your effort in making that really, really good, and you completely forget about how are you gonna get this product to your intended customer. And so you'll have many people, especially in farming, who are like, vitunguu zina pesa. And then you have an acre somewhere, you go, you panda vitunguu, you have no clue how you're gonna sell the kitunguu. So you might get it right in terms of producing the onions. But if you don't turn it into money, then you might as well not have gotten the product right. It counts for nothing.
Yeah, you have to also understand how the money moves and come back through this whole process again after that. Because for example, if you say, okay, cool, I'll sell my onions to Naivas. You understand Naivas operates with 90 days credit. So you're going to give them 90 days worth of onions, and then you'll get paid for the first batch.
Yeah. And then you forget that the same Naivas requires whatever ton of onions throughout the year.
You're
all
going
year
to,
round.
yeah, so you can't actually you can't have a hairline budget over here. You have to be properly equipped.
That's true.
And if they delay the payment, so it's all those contingencies, right? So the that capability thing of just understanding process wise, end to end, where
End to
everything is.
end. There's actually no end, the whole cycle.
Yeah, like
right?
just the full loop.
The full
like
loop.
in our case, it's knowing, okay, yeah, we need creatives, we need strategists, we need account managers, blah blah blah. We need someone to pitch. We need someone to do the legal. We need finance. We have a team here. We're going to need them to eat, so we probably need someone in the kitchen, someone doing water, tea. We need someone at the reception.
Resources.
Those are not your core business.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are capabilities that are required. Because if someone walks in and the receptionist does not talk to them, that's lost business.
100%.
How good the designer is. If that person was looking for design and the person at the reception was like, ngoja.
It's lost business.
Right. So,
when you
sorry.
earlier you were. You're good?
Sorry, yeah, I'm good.
Sorry.
It's not COVID, it's just tear gas.
Oh Lord, no. What was I saying? Earlier on, you were talking about the pro bono work, and I know a lot of Kenyans. This is a touchy topic conversation. It surrounds internship and pro bono and kulipwana. Wanasemanga kulipwana nini?
Exposure.
Na exposure. So, how was that experience for you? Would you advise someone else in that situation to do some pro bono work or some internship in this case?
Okay, yes. I 100% advocate for get work experience.
How did it work out for you?
See, for me, this is it's a tricky one. Initially, like my very, very beginnings, I did a lot of free work because I didn't know what I was doing. The only way to learn was either I was going to pay whatever money it took to go to college and get these things, or go to a design school, or go to a production school, or just volunteer.
Yes.
So I volunteered. It paid very little because they cover your cost, but at the same time you come out of it knowing what you need to do. And then from there you increase your value.
Yeah.
So you have to do it with a plan. Don't just do it with a plan. So if you're going to intern, come, and by the way, we have people here who started as interns who are here like 12 years later.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so there are people who've grown into roles here. It's a very real thing that can happen. I also know people who went and interned and tarmacked and then went and started their own businesses. There are many success stories that come out of getting the practical experience.
Practical experience.
The thing you want to be very careful of in entrepreneurship is entrepreneurs don't get to intern because everything is an investment.
It's gonna cost you something.
Yep.
So not just time and effort. There'll be, and those are already resources, a lot of resources. I was looking at it from like the pro bono work you did for Verge. You said for
KSPCA.
KSPCA. How did that?
Oh, it worked out really well. So, it worked out not as well with some of the people we did pro bono work with, but it worked out really well for what we needed. We needed a portfolio to be able to show proof of what we're doing, which is very chicken and egg situation. In many cases, you tell people, we are here and we can do this, and they will be like, show me. And you either have to do it for them or show them that you've done it before.
Yes.
And most people will not let you do it for them.
Yeah.
Because it's their business. You're playing with their business.
Yes.
On the flip side, and this is always my argument, this is the only industry, like professional industries, usually, where you're selling professional services, usually do not have to do this. If you think of any professional, lawyer, doctor, even plumbers, people who are coming in with expertise to solve a problem, when the plumber comes to your house, after you say, so kuna leak hapa chini, there's a leak in the sink, this is what's happening, do you tell them, before you touch my sink, Ebu, show me how you fix sinks before?
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Except for this industry. This is the
That's
only
true.
industry where people will be like, no, show me.
Show me first.
Yeah. you don't go to a dentist and you're like, hold on, before you touch this one, fix this one. I see how this one goes, and then
And then you
then
can
you
fix
can do
the
this
other.
one, and then we'll negotiate. That's not how
No,
it works, right?
no,
So any other industry, same thing with lawyers, pick up any professional service.
that is so true.
But then when they come to creatives, what do they tell you? Show
Send
me.
me a portfolio.
Yeah. This is the only one where that's
Yeah.
So what we've realized is I can do free work for you while I'm pitching to you. Or I can do free work that is the exact type of work that I want to do, and then use that to pitch for everybody. So we realized this much later on, and purely by mistake. But the type of work we wanted to do, we wanted to work with a lot of NGOs, because we are also like big on doing meaningful work that actually fulfills us. We wanted to work with a lot of passionate people.
Yeah.
So a lot of the free work we did had that type of energy to it. So it was a lot easier for us to pitch into specific industries
I see.
based on the portfolio we had built.
You had built doing the pro bono work. So, I mean, it worked out.
It worked out.
It worked
That's what I'm
out.
saying. It worked out. But for everybody else, like if you're trying to get into it as an entrepreneur, do it with a plan. We didn't have a plan. But again, if you don't have a plan, you can learn and then come back.
Yeah.
So please don't stop just because you don't know. Not knowing is not a reason to not continue. You've learned, go back,
Awesome.
do it again.
Wow.
Fail frequently and fail forward.
Fail forward. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, fail forward. And this was such an inspiring story. So where are you now?
We're all right.
I like that.
So where we are now, I mean, new challenges, there's that thing people always say, new levels, new devils, but we are good.
New levels, new devils.
Yeah, so where we are now, we are no longer 8 employees, we are 20. We have done work quite far across the globe.
Across the globe.
Yeah.
104 pitches.
I'm telling you, it took time. So what I do actually is the outside of running the company is I consult, and I consult with 2 different groups of people. First group is businesses, and specifically businesses looking to either try to grow their revenue or their footprint online. So if you have a business that's trying to build traction, that's trying to find ways to monetize, or trying to figure out your online content strategy, digital strategy, things of that nature. If your ads are not working, if there's something in your pipeline on the online space that isn't working, I consult on that. The discovery call is free. That's a 30-minute free call. You can just, request it and we'll set something up. There's also a link on my TikTok.
Where do you request it from? Oh, TikTok.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
TikTok or TikTok, LinkedIn, wherever you
Wherever
can just request.
they find you.
Yeah, just DM. So Cedric Nzomo is the name to search for, and wherever it pops up, yeah. It's
Alright.
always said content on the socials. So on Instagram and on TikTok, it said content. But yeah, for businesses, for small businesses, medium-sized businesses, large businesses, doesn't really matter. I've consulted across the board. If you're trying to grow your revenue, if you're trying to grow your footprint, if you're trying to solve a digital problem, hit me up. For creators, that's the second group, is usually around 2 things. The first one I think we talked about separately, but like professionalizing. So if you're trying to go from never having made any money to understanding how the money works and getting that kind of initial footprint and that initial step into being monetizable, and you kind of want to just have that crash course, I can do that. I prefer to do those in groups because then the economy makes sense for new creators. So if you can grab a group of like 5 people.
Can I do that?
Yeah, you can.
Can I bring a couple of business owners, entrepreneurs, or creators? I mean, we can discuss it. I bring people together in a webinar for starters, and then we see.
As long, I mean, the day rate is standard. Now, as long as you just
but if you pull resources, then
as long as it's less than 20 people, I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's pretty much my standard, and usually for that it's just like a few hours. We go through it. So the first thing is I need to understand who's in the room, so that I can tailor what I'm presenting to everyone in
ahead
the room,
of time, so that then you're prepared.
It
and
has to have value for you.
Yeah, it has to have value.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
Then the second
work
one
on
is
that.
now for so the first one is that education session of professionalization, but the second one is just revenue growth strategy, etc., etc. Same thing for businesses, but for creators. So, like in your case, where you're now starting to make waves, you need the plan.
Said.
Of like, it's true, you have. But I think you should accept.
Thanks.
Your post revenue.
Your
post revenue.
Oh gosh, I am actually. I am.
Post revenue. So where you are, to actually, honestly, the difference between where you are and people who make, that much a month is not that different.
I see.
So how you go from there to doing more. So how you go from a professional creator to being an online business. Because ultimately that's kind of the goal, is to be able to turn it into some form of a business.
Absolutely.
That's more of an individual consultancy. That one is less of a group thing because it has to be tailored very specifically to you. And that one is done over multiple sessions.
All
and
right.
I do those as well. I have a very limited window there because of the amount of time it takes.
Yeah.
And usually I kind of work based on first come, first serve, but also people I like. So you'll skip the queue.
Thank you.
But like the idea is just, I want to be able to take enough time to be able to say, okay, this month we're going to work with you. This is your fee for the month. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through this thing. We're going to have, weekly calls. We're going to have, weekly check-ins. This is what we're doing, etc., etc.
And if this conversation has inspired you and maybe you're feeling stuck, especially when it comes to digital content creation, brand building, right? Then you can definitely reach out to Ced.
Please do.
Thank you so much, Ced, for having us, for hosting
welcome.
us and having this amazing conversation. And I hope that this Ced's story, I hope it gave you, right, the enough courage to fail forward and achieve your dreams.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Ced. I'll
Thank
see
you
you
for
on the
being-
next one.
Yeah. Cheers.